I
before we
should
go
just hit
on.
record as soon as I get in there. So yeah, I have questions, but I guess I'm not going to ask them.
About the movie? About Smile 2? Oh yeah. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all when I put it on. Like I was expecting it to be a background movie and I was just very impressed.
Yeah,
I
I've
would
heard it's terrifying.
It
one way to put it. I
depends. I think I know what they mean. Like the scene where all of her dancers are in her dressing or in her closet and like following her around the house.
yeah, there's some terrifying parts.
It's also it's way more gory than I was expecting. So you see a lot of things.
It's like, yeah, I can't figure out the end. I guess is my problem. So
Yeah, it's very predictable, unfortunately. I don't know
yeah,
about
both those movies are not a happily ever after type situation.
hell no. I actually thought they had hope this time, and then I was like, oh wait, nope.
Yeah, no, none. Oh, anyway, speaking of no hope, how about this car? I guess I don't know if that works, but I'm gonna make it work. Um, where do we leave our people? They're about to find out some shit about the trunk, right?
They had just dissected the bat thing.
The bat thing that wasn't a bat. I picture,
Right.
I picture that big giant eye thing. Yours, Allie's is pretty close too. They're pretty much the
Yeah,
same thing. Mine was just like creepier.
Yeah, well, and mine is almost like cute, and I'm like, I don't want them to dissect that. That's
Yeah, whatever that thing was, I was not getting a cute vibe.
they're only gonna sacrifice all the other animals.
Well, Dennis Leary said that we only want to keep the cute ones. Otherwise, the ones that aren't cute, like a cow, we use every goddamn part of that thing. So he said, I was just looking at like some of the shit that I highlighted. I highlighted you don't fuck around with the infinite. And then when I just reread it, what he meant at the time was totally different than the way I took it this time. Because now I hear Old Door going, I don't mess in long time business. I'm like, all
See,
things serve to be, right?
it's so interesting because like I wouldn't. I guess it's similar, but I wouldn't think of like an alien species as like on a. We talked about this last time. I was gonna say on another dimension. That's right.
I mean, are they aliens? I don't know what to think we know what's going on.
It definitely seems like we found Altair 4.
Yeah, it really has that vibe, doesn't it? Like, because when he's like, you might not. What's his name? Ned is like, I'm gonna go over there and kick all them aliens' ass. Like, killed my dad or whatever he was doing. And they were like, yeah, what if you just go over there and choke to death, stupid? Yeah, well,
I mean,
that's probably more likely. I gotta say.
yeah, it seems extremely likely given what happens to them when they come over here.
Right. And what are the chances you're just going to be able to breathe on some different world in a different dimension? I'm going to say slim and none.
I liked it's cool. I mean, it's so classic Stephen King, but I liked his part at the end where he like just stops at this rural gas station, slips and falls in Stephen King. I'm talking about slips and falls in the snow, and it's like, hey. What would happen if I just never came back and the gas attendant had to deal with that? And that's how the story was born.
Yeah, like if he just left his car there, that shit happens to everyone. But when it happens to him, it's a
It's crazy.
whole nother level.
yep.
I like to think I have that kind of talent, but I don't. I don't think so. Or if I did, I never used it the way he did for sure. Yeah, so his experience, and that's why it was in Pennsylvania. Like, so why is Christine in Pittsburgh? Did something happen there too?
I mean, isn't The Shining in Ohio? Or is that Ohio?
Colorado.
Colorado, sorry.
He drove. He actually, him and his family drove out there for something, and the day they stayed there was the last day of the season for the Stanley.
Yeah. Yep.
So they saw all the shit going on, and he was like, again, he was like, hey,
Well, my point was, it seems very. I mean, he's a pattern, a creature of a pattern. So, like, it seems very likely that if a story takes place in a certain place, it probably is where he got the idea.
Yeah.
we've got a lot of goddamn ideas, that's for sure.
And that's why a lot of them are in Maine.
Don't take much. Doesn't he say that in the notes? Like, Maine's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I know the most about Maine, but it's felt right to keep it in Pennsylvania. I'm like, sure.
I'd like to be like the troopers. They're like, "Hey, Stephen King's gonna come hang out for a couple days." Like, okay.
I know. I think we might have talked about this last time. I didn't realize this was like written before and after his accident.
Yeah.
I looked at the thing and I was like, I remember going, "Damn, it took him 3 years to write this. This seems like an easy one. This is like one of those ones he would do in a fevered month." Yeah, but then when you look at the actual dates, you're like, "Oh, wait a minute. There's some shit going on in between there."
It's also, as much as he wants to not dwell on that, I'm like, is that, how can that be a coincidence that you got hit by? I mean, it is a coincidence because he was walking every day. It was bound to happen, but he gets hit by a car while writing a story about an evil car. Like, what? Now, I guess to be fair, the car didn't hit him, but still,
And to be fair, that was one of the 45 stories he was writing at the time.
that's also true. It's not like he got sucked into another world and had to help save the help save Midworld.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like the things he was writing about were showing up at his desk. And
Yeah.
he was like, "Holy shit, I gotta quit drinking."
I bet you he would not be surprised if that happened one day. He's like, well, this is the day I've been waiting for.
Well, his imagination is so powerful, right? He might kind of see that anyway when he looks up. I can envision him having a conversation with Roland in his mind. Like that's not too far fetched. As long as he's lived with him. My God, he knows everything about him. So,
Yeah.
well, obviously he's like making him, so I guess he does know everything about him. Like he would know the character so well at this point because he's had him for so long. I could see him actually talking to him.
I keep waiting for that to happen to me one day. I'm like, are you haunted or are you crazy?
You mean your own characters or his character?
Any like have that vivid of a hallucination where you see something. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't say that because there are people who deal with that in actual mental health. But it's just a fear of mine because it's such a trope in horror.
I mean, I've never done it without drugs. Put it that way. Yeah. Uh, anyway, I like this book. I like all his books, I guess.
It's a neat, definitely a neat little story. It's a great refresher after all of the like serious stuff we've been reading.
Yeah,
One super long stuff we've been reading. It's a nice short, nothing attached to it. Like,
Yeah,
we can
nothing,
attach plenty. Come on.
nothing really answered at all.
yeah.
Yeah, like it almost is like, did he write this after Tommy Knockers? Because, like, come on.
It does feel that way, yeah.
If this isn't Altair 4, I don't know what is.
Like, what if when what's the main guy, Sandy? What if when he looked through the thing, he saw like, no, David came back, so I guess there wouldn't be anyone there for him to see. Saw the Tommy knockers or something.
Yeah, right. Well, maybe those. Wait, so the Tommy Knockers didn't have a form? Wait, or did they?
They had carcasses, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what was in the ship, right? Or
I
was that
think
the,
so.
The dried husks of the aliens. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and they were like not quite dead and guard took off.
Well, they were dead, but their energy is still alive, and like he kept looking at them, expecting them to come to life.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love that. I love how his characters freak out when nothing's actually happening because they act like we would. Like, oh my god, what, did that move? What is that?
And
I
that's
gotta turn.
why
Like, I would turn my chair around and face them. I wouldn't be able to take it.
he is too good at writing horror because that's why I've grown up. Like everything he writes is so believable that it makes me think that all of it could happen.
Right? It's his fault that I fucking can't look backwards when I go up that fucking basement stairs.
Yeah, you don't look backwards, but I also don't run because I don't want it to know that I'm afraid.
Right. Right. But what if it is there? I think maybe I should be afraid.
No, nope. I'm gonna use the power of not believing instead.
Yeah, like Pennywise. If I don't believe, then he can't hurt me.
Exactly. Stephen King taught me that.
Yeah, I think he taught me a lot of things. I'm not sure any of them are good. Just all the stuff to stay away from, like refrigerators and junkyards. That's like
Oh,
I kind of already knew that. Anyway, yeah, this is a classic one for sure. I didn't realize, like you said, Amber, this is what did he say? This so we all know Dreamcatcher is the first one after the accident. So this is the second one, right?
Yeah.
This is a lot tighter than Dreamcatcher, that's for sure. Well, I like Dreamcatcher, but people hate. I love the whole Jonesy part of Dreamcatcher, I guess.
He went through an alien's phase.
Uh, you know, That's kind of true. But, well, are these alien? I don't know what these are. He went through an interdimensional phase.
I would call it alien. I mean, again, whatever. Even if it's from another universe. Yeah, I don't know. I keep contradicting myself.
So he went to Dreamcatcher, and then he's like, all right, I'm getting warmed up, and then he finished this one. He's like, all right, I'm good. I think I got this. And then he went, bam, Dark Tower, 4, 5, 6. I mean 5, 6, 7. Bank, right? Is there anything? I wonder if there's anything after this one. This is what 2002.
Yeah.
Only there was a way to tell. I don't have well, my actual books across the room, so I'm not going to be able to reset. All right. It's kind of weird that he keeps getting mad at the kid because he wants answers. I didn't really understand that whole part. Like, he doesn't want to hear my story. He just wants me to tell him the parts he wants to hear. Like, well, okay.
I didn't think about it like that.
Like,
I, yeah.
I mean, his dad just died. Why don't you give him a little break? Like, first of all, why the fuck are you telling this kid about this car anyway? Like, this seems like what? Why should? What did you
I
think he
know.
was going to do?
It's giving me Judd from Pet Cemetery,
Yeah, the king of bad ideas.
where it's like, there's this thing that could help you, but will be super harmful, so I shouldn't tell you about it, but I will, and I'll also show you where it is.
Not only will I tell you about it, I'll tell you how you get there because you can't just walk back there. You have to do it. The secret.
But don't you
You have to
dare
do a
do it.
secret handshake.
Don't you do that.
Yeah. Now you're not gonna do this by yourself, right? Right. We're good.
I mean, it wasn't like the car was really hiding. Like, didn't he find, like, because he came in with like a bucket and a sponge and was like, there's a Buick. It's beautiful. Do you want me to wash it? Like, what's the story with it? And he was like, no, no, no. Like,
Yeah, but
Well,
why
they didn't
couldn't
have to go into all that. They could just be like, yeah, somebody left it there, whatever.
that's what I was about to say. They could have just been like, "Oh, it's an old car. Some ladies he pays for us to store it here." Blah blah blah. I don't know. Any
All
story.
right. We wash it once a week. It looks pretty. And yeah, and I'm the whole time I'm reading this going, okay, so they like signed up to babysit this car for what, eternity? What happens when they retire?
Well, also, how much? Sorry, not to cut off your question, but like they're not even really doing anything. It's not like they can. I guess they can try to kill things that come out of it, but like they can't do anything.
And anyone it seems like that comes in and out of the Troop D, like finds out about the car, and then they go off into other points unknown. Like, this is a really big secret that everybody is keeping. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
not.
I know they say it's like the like PSP mentality and Trooper D and they're all family and they're gonna keep the secret, but I'm like, but how do you know that?
Because you don't let the truth get in the way of a good story.
It's definitely funny because you're seeing it's not like this. I don't think is really harming anyone, but it's still a level of like police corruption in the sense that they're covering up certain crimes that are happening because they don't want like the feds finding out. So it just gives me like, oh, here's the Dallas police at it again.
Stated implied.
Well, it's a little different. You can tell he respects these guys at least.
That's true.
Dallas police is a whole different level. It's funny that we have adopted that code now. We all know what the hell that means when we say it. And Allie hasn't even read the book that has the Dallas police in it.
No.
She's read every other book so far. She doesn't need to.
Yeah, well, I don't know. There's
Well, I mean
no horror.
that was a joke.
Yeah, there's no horror in that book, but it's still one of my favorites.
I just meant because he references the JFK assassination every time, so she's
Who
aware.
knew? I had no idea. I'm kind of glad we read that first because I'm not sure we would have picked up all the references without it.
I think you're right.
Oh
Like
God.
when he said watershed moment, I had no idea he meant that for real.
Yeah, I didn't realize he meant that for us too. I thought he said about him. Fucking rammed it down our throats till it was our watershed moment.
Well, I probably will eventually go and read it. I have it. We've been doing so many other things.
So, uh, I don't even know how to describe it. It's a time travel book, but it's not really. It's
It
more of a love
is.
story.
It's definitely a time travel book, though.
The yellow card man, love that guy. Anyway, let's get off of that. Tell me about the fish.
Yeah. I kind of was like, I don't want to hear about this fish.
I kept picturing a Swedish fish because I don't know why. I guess because of Arky. So then I wanted some Swedish fish.
Like all of these things that he's describing is just very, it's like everything that I hate about certain textures and patterns and things like the membraney and the like the almost transparent, like translucent. I goes like, ugh, I hate
Like
it.
a car full of holes or jellyfish or something.
The jelly plants, like, come on.
Yeah, I'm just glad everything disintegrates. And what about the shit they buried? Like, ooh, I don't trust that at all. What's going on out there?
Yeah, I don't know why they would do that. You don't think it's going to contaminate? It's like, it
He
reminds
was
me,
like, as weird as it sounds, we buried the dirt. I'm like, yeah, that does sound weird. Matter of fact.
it
What
just
would
makes me
be
think of,
worse, though? Burying it and maybe infecting the ground or burning it and having potentially like airborne toxins from a thing that you don't know what's going to happen when it burns.
Right. They could be affecting the world and like,
why don't they just seal it away somewhere? I don't know.
this shit is just too big. Like, I'd have been like, all right, somebody get out of here because no, I can't. No. Matter of
Yeah.
fact, I'm moving halfway around the world.
Unfortunately, I feel like by the time you come in contact with it, it's already decided.
Yeah, it's very well, it was very subtle until all of a sudden it wasn't.
Yeah.
And like, okay, I think we just needed to get everybody out of the police station so we could get Ned in the car because everybody left and everybody came back. I'm like, in that case, I'm pretty sure somebody would have stayed. It wasn't just all left and then all been like, hey, he might try something after that story we just told him. Maybe we should go back.
I don't, whatever. That's not the least believable thing about the story to me.
Well, he had to get it to get, the big climax. He had to get Ned in the car, so he had to get them people out of there because there's no way Ned was getting in the car with all the cops hanging
Yeah.
there. So it was like, hey, all right, I'm tired. Everybody going. But it was like a subtle. The car is very subtle the whole book until like all of a sudden at the end, and he was dragging them with the force of its, I don't know, gravity or portal will or something.
Yeah, so that kind of changed things a lot because then it makes me wonder, like, did the did the other species plant it there to use as some kind of trap?
Right. What was the force that was conscious and pulling at them? It wasn't the car. What was the
Or
thing that was trying to pull them through the car? Where that was something on the other side, like exerting its will,
Yeah, the
I guess.
car seemed more just like a conduit.
well, and don't forget, it was like everything about it is wrong. So it's like somebody just tried to put it together what they thought the car would look like.
Wait, what?
All of the parts are wrong or too big or not right. It doesn't look like what a real Buick would look like.
Well, right. None of them actually like would work or should work or something like that. Yeah. And the
The
tires.
not hooked to anything.
It just
Yeah,
makes
yeah. Wasn't the like engine not hooked up or something?
it
Or the
definitely makes it sorry, not to cut you off.
yeah.
Definitely makes it seem a lot more sinister than as opposed to like somebody just left it behind.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, kind of. Yeah. Yes. I mean, but when they start talking about, I think it's Shirley, like we just killed a living being, like it's a thinking being or whatever. What did the thing actually do wrong? It defended itself when they attacked it. Like maybe they should have, I don't know, gave
Left
it
it.
half a second to see what happened, or did it come out screaming? I don't remember. Maybe it came out
Well,
and
no,
then
the
Mister
dog attacked it as like immediately. He ran towards it.
Poor old, you know, dogs don't do well in Stephen King books.
Truly, we don't. And I nearly started crying reading that. I was like, leave the dogs alone.
Not only did he die, but my God, he was like on fire on the inside or something. Like
Yeah, that was
the damn
gruesome.
thing's whining while its fucking head is smoking. Oh my God! And they had to fucking shoot it like a goddamn horse.
I imagine it's like swallowing acid or something.
Yeah. Well, and I mean,
And not the good kind.
Right.
I was glad that they like did shoot him and kind of end his misery instead of just watching him die.
No, right.
But at the
But
same
it was
time, like, snap yourself out of whatever the fuck is happening and don't let him attack the thing in the first place.
he has dogs. What the hell?
I'm like, he has dogs, he likes dogs. Why do you treat them so shittily in your books?
Right. He needs a little Dean Koontz in his life. My goodness,
Justice for dogs.
right? Dogs are characters too. The DAG.
And I feel like his argument would be, yeah, but way more people probably die in my stories.
I know. He's like they still make out better than the people do. So
Okay with that.
I don't know. It's like if you see a person, they might live. If you see a dog, you're like, oh, you're fucked.
I couldn't believe how cavalier they were with all of the, like, so I made that joke earlier, with all of the animals in the testing. It's like, just throw in, like, even the cockroaches I felt bad for. It's like, throw in a mouse here and a rat here and something
Yeah.
else on the hood.
Was it the two frogs? One disappeared and one didn't, or is that the gerbils?
That was the gerbils, but and then he made the frog go blind.
Yeah, they were just like fucking with a bunch of animals. Like, now what happens when I do this? Like little like 4-year-olds. What happens when I do this? Like, stop poking the damn thing.
Yeah.
Like, what's the thing on the other side thinking at this point? Like, what are these fucking idiots doing?
Although
You
my
want a
question,
show? I'll give you a show.
like, why did he even let his dad live so long if it was like, I have to stop you because you know too much? Like, what is he like showed everybody else by that point.
I mean, when we say it, we're, I guess, not talking about the car directly, but
The force, whatever
whatever. Yeah,
force
right. But
hypnotizes people.
did it kill Curtis?
Yes. They I mean, again, I guess it's supposed to be by like make I think it's why can't I think of the word? Like telepathy, like mind control.
Wouldn't they all be dead then? There wouldn't be
They
much there if it could reach out that far and just kill shit when it wanted to. Why isn't it doing that more?
Well, that seems to be what is insinuating about Eddie too.
I like that they found what was it, Brian Lippy's boot in the he saw it through the portal on the other side.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. And
Wait,
so
so
then that was another one. These fucking
does
cops,
that
he got away and they're like, nah, let's just not do anything about that. What could go wrong?
I mean, it would have made him look bad, you know?
Well, that's clearly what matters in law enforcement.
I'm still kind of shocked by that. Like that seems most aggressive to me at all. So I'm like, this force or this thing or whatever it was reached out and dragged him out of the cruiser into the trunk. Like, how did it do that?
Well, I don't think it did.
Where
I think he escaped, and then when he was walking past and the door was open, maybe it called to
Yeah.
him. And he was like, oh, maybe he thought, like, this is a car. I can use this as a vehicle. And then it was like,
wait,
haha,
weren't they in the shed when he escaped?
they were near it. Well,
There was something. The car was doing something at the same time as he was being
That was when the alien thing came out of it.
yeah,
the pink strands and thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. So they were in the shed. So when he was going by, he stopped and looked in the window and it grabbed him while the pink thing was going on at the same time.
See, but if that's regardless, you bring up a good point. Like, why wouldn't aren't they working on the same side? Wouldn't the thing rather focus on saving its own than like snatching another thing? It's like, you deal with that. I'm eating over here.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And why is it letting shit come through if it knows like, oh, you sent me a frog. Well, here, have this.
Yeah,
Like,
right. It's bartering with it like a kid.
is it sending its like death row prisoners over or something? I don't
I mean, it
like.
definitely seems like it was sending things originally that were just right around wherever this portal is.
Like he picked up a rock and threw it and see what happened.
Yeah,
Because there was flowers the one time and there was
leaves.
cockroaches or whatever they were. Yeah, wasn't it just dirt the one time?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that makes me think like maybe it doesn't know what it's sending. Maybe something just gets near it, and when some of those power surges happen, it's like, and I'm just gonna grab the closest thing and chuck it at you.
then again, what is controlling? Like, what is it then?
Well, maybe it's like a black hole. It just sucks anything near it in when it activates. So anything like collateral damage, like residually near the portal, just when it does whatever it's doing, sucks everything near it. And
You know that
the pink thing was walking by and was like, ah, crap.
that would make a lot of sense. Yeah.
And like the flowers were in the dirt near it or something. I don't think anybody knows. He just was like, what would happen if nobody ever found me when I fell down that hill?
I know. It also doesn't make sense then why. I mean, it clearly has to be whatever it is. It has taken the form of this car because it is now breaking down, supposedly, like falling apart.
Yeah, it's like every time it does something, it can't do it quite as good the next time.
Yeah.
Guess I don't. I guess that's a way to explain away how it's not going to be there forever and take over the world.
I
It's
know
losing its power.
it's not like a lot of Stephen King is not about answering questions, but I really just want to know like where this thing came from.
Oh, he doesn't even know. We know where it came from. Well, we know where it goes. We may not know where the car came from or who the Straker guy is. That was
Yeah,
that's kind of what I want to know. Like, who the fuck are you and why did you put the car there?
that's what I mean. Like, was it a trap or like was it really?
Did you just like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck these people's lives up like for the next 30 years? Check this out. Because most of the time nothing happens, but when it does, you better fucking
Yeah, I just don't
watch
know.
out. And Ennis, did we confirm Ennis? Didn't he see like something from Ennis in it?
Yeah, he saw the hat and the gun.
And the gun, yeah.
You know what he should have seen? He should have seen fucking David Brown.
That was the joke that I was gonna make, but he came back.
Well, he came back. Also, like, I see where you're going with the, like, it's Altair 4, but Altair 4 read to me like a barren landscape, like a desert, and this reads to me like a riverbank. And I'm not saying that it can't be the same thing, but I think it's two, if it is the same thing, it's two very different areas.
Yeah.
Yeah, Altair 4 is definitely uh easy for me to say. Arid, dry, had like desert feeling. Yeah, this one I'm not sure.
Because
I
if
don't
they're,
get a lush greenery vibe from it, but there's definitely flowers and uh living things.
yeah,
I'm not sure how high up on the rung these things are. I mean,
Both
it
of
was a thinking beings. I like, well, those like people of that planet.
I did like that comparison and how they said that who had the stake through them? Was that Ennis? I don't know.
Well, he's like your only choice. He's the only one over there.
Yeah,
yeah.
well or maybe it was Bones or something. I think he said I remember him saying specifically there was a stake through him as though whoever fought him like was afraid for their life too. Like had to make sure one last final blow so he wouldn't come back to life. So I do kind of lean more on the side of like both of our universes have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, that would make sense. I mean, not make sense for the story. That seems logical. It's the Dallas police running the portal.
Or
Because
shop,
Or what?
shop.
Oh, the shop.
see, if the shop was running it, nobody would know about it. It would be like Troop D would be relocated about 20 miles away.
Yeah, right. They
I
would
wish
not
the shop was
exist.
around more. Yeah. First rule of the shop is you don't talk about the shop. I like how the light show is purple. Big fan of that. I kind of want to see this movie just for all the light show. You can see
Yeah.
the shit come like belching out of the trunk. But like the temperatures, it's like a ghost. Temperatures dropping. Get the fuck out of there.
Well, that was the whole thing about earthquakes, right? It's earthquake season in here.
Earthquake country.
Earthquake country, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's a good word for it. That means the shit's hitting the fan, right?
Yep.
What was he call? Oh, he calls them light quakes in this. Like, no, it sounds an awful lot like a beam quake. I don't know. Just saying. All things do not serve the light. Well, they kind of do. I guess it delights the light. And Kurt goes from like fascinated, but then he can't ever really figure anything out. So he's just like, whatever. he gives up. It's too long of a grind because it's kind of weird how like I guess because he's flipping back in time, but at one point it's like you know that's all Kurt cared about, and then like the next paragraph he's like, yeah, it was just like whatever. He didn't care about that thing. Like, wait a minute, what
Yeah.
happened?
For having such a strong pull on him, it didn't seem hardly strong at all. Like, especially
It
not as
didn't
much
lead
as it was.
anywhere.
Yeah, like he didn't do anything. Well, I guess it killed him eventually, but that's why I'm like, whoa, that was weird timing.
I mean, that was a slow burn. Good God.
Right.
I
Maybe
mean,
that's all it can do.
it took 20 years to get the one guy. Oh
I
well,
don't.
then his kid sat in the seat for him. He's like, oh, thanks.
Right. I was gonna say it got Ned pretty fast.
Yeah.
And they're like, it wasn't your fault, Ned. The car had you. Like, well,
Mm.
he would have known about the car. No, it wasn't Ned's fault, but it wasn't the car's fault either. I'll say it was Sandy's fault and Arky and Charlie and Eddie, who didn't want to talk for some reason. The Eddies I know do a lot of talking.
And a
Well,
lot
there's
of
one.
dying.
Yeah, there's only one Eddie that does both of those.
The other Eddie doesn't die in the book. Is that just a movie?
And what?
In it?
Oh, I forgot about him. Oops. Yeah, he does.
That's what I thought.
Uh, yeah, he dies in a movie. Too. Yeah. It's all Stan's fault. See, if Stan would have just came back and waited, he could have died in Pennywise's lair, and Eddie could have lived.
Feel like you could argue though that Stan's unwavering or extreme fear and unwavering, whatever would have led to more of their downfall. Like it's too much of a weak link because they need a strong circle.
Right? Yeah, Stan didn't believe good enough. I wish Stan getting it or Stan liked the birds, but Mike got attacked by the bird. I wish Mike's bird was in the movie. I wanted to see that thing.
I know it's hard when there's so many scenes in the 1100-page book.
Yeah, well, they made two movies, but there is the TV show coming, so there's hope yet. It's like a prequel. I'm like, well, I already know everything that happened before the book. It was in the book.
Because even that when he sees the giant, even when he sees the giant bird at the fire, that's not in the movies. Because the fire doesn't really happen like they don't really even show it actually in the remake. It just like shows like the people running out.
Yeah, is the black spot in the movies? I don't.
It's it's a quick scene where Mike is like running out of the freezer or something.
After the bird,
Well, they don't show you the bird. Is it in the
right? But
movie?
that's when that happens, though, right?
Well, remember his dad sees the bird at the fire and he tells him about it.
I have to
And
watch that
then
again.
Mike sees his own bird.
Everybody's got a bird.
The bird is the word.
Yeah. No.
I know.
There seems to be a certain ornithological piece.
That was another song I had no idea was a real song.
A bird.
There's, I mean, it's pretty much all storytelling until the very end. Which is not that there's not stuff happening, but it's a
But
lot of the same stuff.
Yeah.
he's very comfortable there too, though. When his characters are telling a story. I don't know. There's some. It's like that's a horror trope, right? To try to get the details when you're telling the stories.
Yeah,
You have to have that scene, or where you're looking on the internet, or in a library looking something up to find
always.
out what's going on.
Sometimes that's in the trailer too, for some reason.
Well, maybe just in case you were wondering if it was in there, right?
Well,
Salt like the ocean.
you're right. It probably is near at least an ocean because of the saltwater smell and everything.
Yeah, didn't they say it was like super salty, like worse than our ocean or
Yeah.
something? Like, imagine this. So take the desalinator next time you go sit in the Buick's front seat.
Don't go sit in the Buick's.
Maybe the lobstrosities are there.
I was
Oh,
thinking that too.
that's
I was like, what beach is it?
Yeah.
oh, I never even thought of that. Monstrosities on Altair 4.
But the lobstrosities do seem to be solid. At
Yeah.
least they weren't described as membraney.
True.
No, they're insane giant lobsters.
Right.
And I can't wait till Mike Flanagan shows me what they look like.
Oh, I know.
That a chum? That a
Not
chum?
a joke.
Did it
It reminds me of,
was that a chum?
well, it almost reminds me of Pokemon too, but they're so opposite of Pokemon. I was like, that a tick, and then chomp.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and they're lightning quick. Because
Yep.
they throw you, they're like off putting with the question. You're like, oh, look at these cute little jump, and then you're missing a face. That's what happened to Roland.
I remember.
Because only Stephen King would like, it's always easy to create lobster monsters on the beach, but only he would have them like asking questions while they're ripping your limbs out. Useless ones too. It's probably something like, I don't know, Owen said when he was a baby or something. Just makes no sense.
Or
Uh,
yeah, it could be anything. His brain is insane.
insane in the membrane.
Insane in the brain.
There was two cops that killed themselves. Is that right? George and somebody else. Eddie, eventually.
The end.
Well,
Eddie.
yeah,
So how do you say Eddie's last name? But Jack. All I can picture is fucking Brian Lippy going Jackie Boys. I'm like,
it
nope,
would
that's
be Bois, so Jackie
Jaco-
Bois.
Jackie Bois, right? That's how you say it.
Yeah,
Jacob, Jacob, no, Jackie Bois.
Jacques
You
Bois.
damn French. Never got them letters again.
And somehow
You could
I'm,
make the alphabet like 12 letters if you lived in France.
well, that's Hawaii. They only have like 12 letters in their alphabet.
Something happened there today.
I'm sure stuff happens there every day.
No,
Sorry.
fireworks. A couple people died.
Uh-uh.
Fireworks explosion or something. I saw like a blurb on the news.
Isn't it? Oh, well, I guess
I don't
it's
watch the
probably.
news these days because it's all bad, and it's gonna get really bad in 2 weeks. I'm gonna have to just turn the TV off.
Uh,
They're doing a
He's
4-year
already
cruise, you know?
complaining that they're flying the flags at half mast for Jimmy Carter, and he's complaining. He doesn't want it at half mast when he gets inaugurated.
Okay. Oh,
wow.
good, good. Cool. Honestly, let him focus on that. I'm fine with it.
Right? Don't do anything like blow up fucking North Korea while you're not paying attention. Anyway,
They're
off
doing
topic.
real quick, they're doing a 4-year cruise around the world if you want to leave for the next 4 years.
That's funny. I would do that if I had the money. Totally. Uh, I don't know it'll be any better when you get back in 4 years, but I would do that just to do it.
Right? Well, honestly, no, I don't ever have a desire to be on a cruise ship, especially not for that long, but it's funny. If I was going to leave, I'd
Well,
just
I mean, if
go to
we're hitting
Sweden.
land like here and there, I mean,
Oh, I'm sure
yeah,
you
I don't.
are, but I just don't like the idea of being on a cruise ship.
My grandfather used to talk about not seeing land for months at a time because he was on a World War II Navy ship. And I'm like, I don't know if I would like that.
I would not.
It seems very oogie. Like, get me to some fucking solid shit.
Yeah, like what's the sea version? I guess sea legs is what they call them. Like it's like tunnel vision, but in the water.
Yeah, well, sea legs is like the ability to walk on a boat because it's always moving.
Right. Okay.
But it's also why people throw up, what do they call that? Seasick. Because the boat's always moving while you're trying to walk on it.
Motion sickness. And it sucks.
I've never had an issue, but there's still a chance. I'm old now. I have many issues that I didn't have a long time ago.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that just happen because you get to a certain age that I never realized before.
I had Brussels sprout the other day and I liked it. First time in like 20 years.
What? That was not what I was thinking of.
Well, tomato, tomato. To be fair, it was seasoned very expertly. I can eat anything with the right seasoning.
I'll have to try again in 10 and 15 or well, wait, I tried them
See?
like 2 years ago and I hated it, even though it was seasoned well. So
Yeah, I'm not generally a fan, but they were good.
once I'm
What about
past
fucking?
50, I'll check in.
Yeah, well, I used to hate onions and now I eat them all the time. My grandmother used to make me ham on Thanksgiving because I refused to eat turkey.
You're like Debbie, but opposite.
I was just smart. I got ham and turkey on Thanksgiving. They actually isn't that a thing? Isn't there like a lunch meat that's like turkey ham or a freaking anyway?
Mm-mm.
Uh, I
Where
guess
were
we have enough to say about this book because we're wandering all over the place.
Well, that's what I was saying, like, because we were talking about the fish, and it's all the same version of, like, it's like nothing happens, and then something happens, and
Yeah,
then it's
stuff just
gone.
keeps coming out like it's a subtle car, like, and it kind of waits till nobody's looking, and it's like,
It's annoying to me that they don't ever like really tell us how it kills his dad, because the entire book, they're like, well, this car couldn't possibly have done that, right?
yeah, wink, wink, yeah.
Yeah,
But it totally did,
right.
right? Wink, wink.
And it's like, I don't know.
I love how he talks about if Curtis getting, what does he say? His fucking hat was in the fucking bushes with the McDonald's wrappers. Just how he got like
Knocked.
smashed. Like you could picture it because he was talking about how his body was in different pieces and his like head was over here and
Well, it
like
reminds me of the opening scene of Smile too. No spoilers, you know. I
No,
already
not at all.
spoiled it. I already spoiled the ending, but the first scene, where the guy gets hit with the car and dragged. Did you see that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
exact because his foot is like where he got hit, and then you see the blood smear, and you see his body stuck under the truck.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Jesus.
was actually pretty. That was unexpectedly graphic. I was like, oh,
That's what I'm
okay.
saying. And like you see, they don't move the camera away. You see everything.
Yeah, there's no imagination in those.
That's did
You
you
should watch the first one though. That's not. That's more of a. Well, it's more true to its name, I guess. There's a lot of people smiling, and you're going, "What the fuck?"
I
This
mean,
one, it was like I think three people smiled at her.
you mean different people?
Yeah. Well,
Because
okay.
there were a lot of smile scenes. It was just like it would be she. Well, I don't. Never. I don't want to
The
spoil it.
first one felt like everywhere she turned, someone different was smiling at her. This one didn't have that. This one was a different vibe, I
I
guess.
think you need to watch the first one again because it's not that many people.
Oh,
She
Hmm.
maybe
sees
I do.
she sees the same person over and over again, and then it's like two or three or maybe four other people that smile at her.
Yeah, and what happened to her? We got to address that in the second one, don't we? Or are we just moving on
Do you
to
not
someone else?
remember the first movie?
I do, and it wasn't good.
She well, that's how the curse is passed on. She passes it on, and then you're done once it's passed on. There's no more living after that.
Oh, so this is just someone else down the line.
It's the sorry, yeah. The guy in the beginning is the cop that was helping her in the first movie.
I didn't remember that. Yeah, I guess I got to watch the first
And if you recall, I just watched this the other night too, so it's fresh in my memory. But at the very beginning, it says 6 days later, like after the end of the first movie. So it picks up pretty
one.
much right away.
I think I might have been playing the video game when I started the movie. So I guess I got to actually just watch it because the second half I was like, okay, I'm all because I fell asleep watching it the first time, so I picked it up where I left off, and I was like all in on the second half.
Yeah.
But the first half, I guess I wasn't because I don't remember half of it.
To be fair, the first part, like the first scene in the movie, kind of feels like it has nothing to do with the rest of the movie until it's like you find out he's the drug dealer of the main character, and then you're like, oh, okay, I see where this is going.
That was an interesting angle.
Well, I see. So again, we're getting really off topic here, but that's why I loved it so much is because it adds so many fears together. It's like the fear of being stalked, the fear of someone breaking into your house, like the fear of like that. I'm sure a lot of famous people
Yeah,
because they have no privacy, so you never know who is looking at you and when they're looking at you and where they could be.
like when she's in the restaurant, like, is that Riley? So it's like, oh
Yep.
fuck, I gotta
Yeah.
get the hell out of here.
Yeah. So I thought it was just very genius because like you don't know, is it a demon or is it a real stalker?
Right? Or is she crazy?
Right. Oh, and the whole addition of she's also an addict. So she does all this crazy shit, and her everybody immediately is like, "Are you using again?" And it's like, "Oh, it's so good."
Yeah, that was because only because she wasn't, but everybody's like, sure you're not. What the fuck are you
Right.
doing? Like, no, seriously, I'm just possessed by a demon. Like, right. Police. All right. 2 week end of the podcast. Everybody say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.